newbies. So I thought I would go ahead and just do kind of like a walkthrough, I think, of the Goddess Powers deck. I have had some people ask me about it, so I am going to go ahead and just show you kind of like what you will get with the Goddess Powers deck. Of course, the packaging is quite beautiful. It's very like kind of like luxury feeling and everything, but to be honest, I could do without all of this. I am kind of partial to having the guidebook and everything all in one. I don't mind that they're thicker. I actually prefer them to be all together. Of course, this is beautiful though. This is a slip cover right here. So this is not entirely fun to try to pull out, but this comes off and it leaves this beautiful box. So this is kind of cool. You could store things in here because I'm definitely not going to store the deck in here. That's a pain in the butt. And it's got, you know, like cute little things here. It's got a ribbon. You know, you could store crystals or other things. That's probably what I would do, is I would leave the top part off and just have this basically as a box. I know she did this with the Mystical Shaman deck as well. And again, I just have the box kind of sitting off because that is not how I'm going to start. Oh, and this is actually kind of cool. So it almost looks like a book, kind of. I don't know if you can see that, but oh, and then we've got the triple goddess and like a Celtic tree of life type deal. Now we have the guidebook here. I guess the cool thing about this is that it's almost like you have just a cool book. So you could have this like separate and actually put this on your shelf, and it's almost like actually having like a goddess book. But to be honest, again, I just personally prefer to have it all in one package. I think my favorite setup that she had was the spirit animals, I think, how everything was like all in one together, and then the box like flipped open. I think that has to be my favorite way of how you know, how they're packaged together and things, because it makes it really convenient. I do kind of like the guidebooks. I know some people don't. I kind of would prefer that this would be in color though. If you're gonna do, I think I said this, I feel like I said this in, I don't know what I was talking about. It might have been like in a favorite oracles or something like that. But I feel like if you're going to go through the trouble of printing this big book, that it's better to have it in color. That way it's kind of more of like it's a standalone type thing, because it's, you know, I don't know. That's just my thing, I guess. Because I know I love one of my favorite books, one of my favorite guidebooks that's like a book is the Everyday Witch book, and that one is really amazing. I love that, and it has colored pictures in it. And for the price that this is selling for, I feel like they absolutely could have done that. I think that's cutting a huge corner for how expensive this is. I know currently right now it's like almost half off on Amazon, and I don't know how long Hay House is going to have a deal up that they're doing now, but it's $20 on Hay House's website, which makes it so much more reasonable. Excuse me. I think it makes it so much more reasonable for that price. But when you're looking at paying $40 for the set or something, or even $30, I think that that's a huge corner cut when the pictures and the artwork are as beautiful as they are. I forgot to reset this deck because I have been using it quite a bit, but I will just kind of I'll go ahead and do a flip through pretty quickly. I love Jenna. Oh, and here is the back of the oracle cards here. I love the artwork that Jenna does. It's super stunning, and I just love that through this one, the Good Tarot, and her most recent Call It Baron Reed decks, that they are all so similar in that way. It makes them like, I don't know, it makes them flow. I love when I feel like I can use decks that are very similar in vibe I think that's something that's kind of, that has been kind of missing. I do use multiple decks all the time when I'm doing readings or drawing for the day, and so I really do love to have stuff that feels like it vibes together really well, and I cannot get these two apart. So here we go. Okay. And that, honestly, that has to be another thing that I'm not entirely loving about, I know a lot of people like the thickness. This is fairly thick cardstock. I know more people probably know, like, with the grades and things like that. I don't. I prefer to have kind of like, I do kind of like this a little bit slimmer feel, versus, the Mystical Shaman is actually thicker, not by a lot. I did like line the decks up side by side, and they're only, the Mystical Shaman is only a few, like I think a card or two taller than this one is when they are lined up right by each other. So yeah, it's slightly more bendy, and I think I kind of like that because the stiffness of the cards makes it really difficult to like shuffle them and get them apart. I know like this kind of has like that really soft buttery type feel to it, and it feels really great, and it's awesome when you shuffle the cards like, you know, vertically like this. So when you're shuffling the cards this way, they glide together quite well. But if you're trying to, like, let's say lay them out, that bugs me. That that is not something that I like. I mean, I don't lay them out like that all of the time, but especially if I were to do a reading or something like that with these, that would be something that I would prefer to do. And I don't like that they grab that way. That's not my favorite. So I know that that's been a popular thing recently, this same type of like more matte, very thick cardstock. I actually prefer the very thin cards, and like not the thick heavy gloss like Hay House was doing before, but I wish I knew what type of gloss it is that I love so much, because I do have a few. It's very I guess it would be similar to the US Games type of typical decks that I do enjoy, because they slide together perfectly, they shuffle so easily. I do kind of get irritated when the cards stick together like that and it's hard to pull them apart. But again, like, you know, the whole entire reason why I'm so in love with this deck is the imagery and everything, is the artist that does this. And I do, I have read through some of the guidebook because I had the app before this deck was released that I used for the, I think it was at least for almost a month before I even got the card deck or anything. So I do really love some of the things that Colette has written for each of them, and I like that she has kind of like the different messages. I'll actually go back in the book after I finish flipping through these and show what's in the guidebook, because I feel like everybody wants to see, you know, a walkthrough of the cards and everything like that. That one is so pretty, gosh. Sorry guys, I'm just kind of admiring the artwork also, because it's so pretty. I can't get over the way the artwork has been done. I really do like kind of like the semi-realism of the people with all of the, you know, the kind of like, I guess you would call it photoshopping of textiles and other things like that in the background. It's something that I'm just so drawn to, that I've been obsessing over these decks with, that I love so much. So I'm really just kind of learning some of the different goddesses. It's not something that I have been, it's something in probably like the last 4 months or so I have been like kind of getting more into. So I don't have like a huge background on some of the goddesses and things of that, but I've been enjoying learning. I have a bunch of new books that I've gotten that I've been reading that I really love. All of the new kind of things that have been coming up with the goddess in general, for women and empowerment and things of that nature, because I feel like that's so needed. So needed. And so I will, I'm going to show you just quickly the guidebook, and then I'm also going to just talk quickly, because I'm going to do an entire video dedicated to this. I'm going to talk quickly just about kind of like some of the other decks that I know of the goddesses and how it kind of matches up. You know, are there multiple duplicates of cards? Because I know when I first saw this deck, I thought, wow, the imagery is beautiful, but you know, I already do have 2 goddess decks, both from Hay House, and so I kind of sat down and did a little bit of a walkthrough of all of the decks to see their similarities. So before I show you the other ones, I thought I would just show you, in case you didn't know, the one that I probably like the packaging the best of, which is the Spirit Animal Oracle. And this kind of just magnetically opens like this. All of the cards are here, and these are actually all in order. And so they open up like this, and then you've got the guidebook in here, which for me personally is so much more convenient and justifies more of the non-color imagery in the guidebook. And I love how this is all just like in a nice, neat little thing. I constantly am taking my decks upstairs, downstairs, here, there, everywhere. So for travel purposes, it's really convenient and I love it. But of course I can see how if you're not a fan of the guidebook, that might be a little more cumbersome than something that you would want. And I'll also just go ahead and show you guys really quickly too the 2 decks. I will be sitting down, probably not today, but soon, to kind of give you like an overall walkthrough of the vibe of each of the 3 of these decks, because I think it's super interesting, and honestly I think they build on each other pretty well. And I will go through, I think, well, I'll go ahead and tell you guys quickly, kind of like the triplets, kind of that are in all 3 of the decks, just in case you're wondering right now, like, okay, do I need this deck or do I not need this deck? Is it going to be a ton of repeats or not? Let's see. So, which cards? The green Tara is a repeat in all 3 decks. And so, I mean, there really aren't that many, because that's 1. I'm not seeing another repeat. Okay, Kali is a repeat in all 3. And so it's 2, because I think there's like about 6 or so. Okay, I'm totally going to butcher this because I really don't know how to say this goddess's name, but it's Lakshmi. That's in all 3. And I thought there was a few other ones. I don't think that there's just 3, but maybe there is. I thought there was a few others that were, but I'm kind of just glancing over it pretty quickly. And then, of course, there's a few like doubles between the decks. It's kind of looking like, oh, yikes. So it's kind of looking like there are really just like 3 or 4 cards that are triplets between the 3 decks. And then you do have some overlap, kind of going back and forth between you know, two of the decks interchangeably and things like that. So I do really feel like it's probably worth it to, if you have those other decks, to get this one if you like all of the things about this. And I will go ahead and just show you quickly kind of like how she has her messages set up. So she has an empowerment message, and it's kind of just taking the energy of the goddess and how you can apply it to your life. So it's really like very practical application based. And then you have the alignment message, and this is kind of, I mean, I suppose it would be the same, you know, of how to balance and bring in that message, because the alignment message, so the, okay, so like the you know, empowerment message would be upright, and then the way she has it set up is the alignment message would be kind of like a reversed meaning type thing. So it would be kind of like, you know, how you could bring the goddess into your day, just enter, like, you know, full on in her energy glory and things, and then the way that she would be able to help you, you know, like navigate maybe like the things that you are potentially like having issue with, or, you know, the shadow side or what have you, however you want to interpret that. Which I kind of like. I don't know that I would necessarily draw. I never draw oracle cards reversed. So, but it is nice that she takes that into account, and when I read the messages, I just kind of read the empowerment message and the alignment message and just take what I will from that to, you know, whatever it is that I'm needing that day. You know, if I feel really called to the alignment message more than the empowerment message and things like that. So I do feel like there's quite a lot of good information for the most part of just how to actively bring the goddesses into your daily life. So like, see, this is the green Tara, and the green Tara is in all of the decks there, but there's a lot of ones that are very unique, I would say, like between the three decks. So, and this isn't one, I don't know that I found a particular theme other than just the fact that my takeaway from this was that she was just trying to get people to, you know, see the goddess within, recognize them within themselves. And when I lay out all three of the decks in the next video to do kind of like an overview of the of all of the cards in the three decks, I think that is probably what made it the most clear of the intention behind these specifically. I realize that right now there's some controversy going on with the goddesses and some of the representations that they've taken, and I don't know that I really want to go too much into this video because I think everybody's pretty set in their opinions at this point, and while I have mine, I don't feel like it's really my place to get too much into that conversation so much when I personally just align the goddesses more as archetypes, so I can understand how a different point of view could be upset by potentially some of the things in this deck that have been mentioned in a few other videos. So I thought that would just be a really great little walkthrough, so you can kind of see the vibe, you know, you see all of the images. You know, I talked about them being quite different than the other two Hay House Goddess decks, so, you know, if you're looking at it that way, I do still feel like it's worth purchasing, but of course, that's up to you. You know, I think the biggest draw, of course, is the artwork itself, and just the, you know, sparkly beautifulness, I guess.
So I will go ahead and leave it at that, and I hope this was helpful. Definitely feel free to leave any respectful comments down below, because I don't want to get into a big debate so much, but I really appreciate everyone who has subscribed recently, and congratulations to Hexen, our giveaway winner from the Scully video. So I'm so glad, and he will be finding his home with him very soon, and I really hope to do some more of those again in the future, because they're really fun, and I love to like give people gifts and things. It's so fun, especially when it's guided by spirit so heavily. So whenever that is time again, I will definitely announce that. And I hope everybody has a really wonderful day. And I will probably be doing a live video next week. My schedule was kind of thrown off this week because I was away. But I will be back at it, because seriously, this is like, I love the community here, and it's so fun. And I love, just the camaraderie and everything in the witchy community. It is kind of a wonderful thing. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I could ramble on forever, I swear. So I will see you guys in the next live, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. Bye!